What is up, everybody? Welcome to NFT in the Arena. You with Mike and Jono. Today is the first episode, and we are super excited about this. And we'll get into exactly what this is all going to be about. But this is the first episode of our series of NFT in the Arena, where we effectively will delve deep into the NFT as well as crypto world. And what's actually brought us upon this journey is our passion for sports as well as our passion for technology, and in that being creative, where we actually started Sportsfinda in 2019 with our founder, Ahmed Al Hadi, who is actually based in Australia, where myself and Jonathan are based in the United States and South Africa, respectively. And what we initially set out to do with SportsFinder was to provide a platform and a marketplace to allow athletes, predominantly student athletes in the US college system, to effectively take advantage of what we perceive the future would look like when it came or anything in relation to an athlete's NIL, name, image, and likeness. Where previously, before legislation was passed, I think last year now, athletes were not allowed to actually monetize their brand and their name whilst in the college and high school sports space here in the United States. And we had created a platform to allow athletes to sell merchandise, basically auction off whatever memorabilia they have for themselves and create a brand and start monetizing themselves by also giving away some memorabilia via auctions and actually creating fan experiences, which evidently has led us to our new journey, which is something we're incredibly passionate about, is NFTs. And we naturally saw this transition moving from or to actually the NFT space, where we decided to create our own NFT marketplace called SportsFinder, where we allowed athletes, professional as well as young athletes that are semi-pro or going into the big leagues eventually, to create NFTs on our platform and list them. But what we actually realized was that after some time in working with athletes, the agents or the organizations, the management teams, and the actual football teams, the basketball teams, and the likes, we realized that this is an opportunity to not only allow these organizations to create their own NFTs, but also to potentially own their own NFT marketplace. And this is where we believe we are moving towards in the direction of our business, where we are effectively now are a technology company, an enterprise solution offering organizations as well as individuals across any discipline of sport, any of artists or entertainment, the opportunity to create their own NFT white label marketplace, where we utilize the technology and the technology stack in which we have built. And we'll get into what technology we've actually built our platform on and the one in which we offer our clients. But this is something that we're incredibly passionate about. And the reason why we created this NFT in the Arena podcast was not only to talk about what we were doing, but more so to speak about what's going on in the NFT as well as crypto world, what the latest news is, the latest technologies, as well as the latest trends. And just more so, being the month of Ramadan, it's all about giving. So we want to give up free education to people that are trying to learn about NFTs, based on our discussions with organizations not only in the United States but around the world. This is still very newfangled, and a lot of people need to be educated on this, which makes people typically skeptical. And when we are trying to approach our clients, these are the kind of conversations we want to have, and essentially provide them with the most amount of information that they would need to make a decision on whether this is the route in which they want to pursue. Because there's a lot of opportunity in this space, but as Gary Vee once said, he believes that 98% of the NFT collections that have come out in the last 2 years will not be successful. So we are on the other side of that fence, where we actually are creating marketplaces and allowing organizations to create their own NFT marketplaces. And we effectively see ourselves as an organization that will be working hand in hand in growing businesses, because it's not only the NFT that holds the value, it's the utility behind this. And we'll get into that as we go out, as we progress through the series of episodes. So today, obviously, with Jono, who will be our regular host with myself. And what we actually wanted to start with today was actually just talking about the NFT marketplace and the white label marketplace in which we've created, and one of the first people pioneering this in this space. And we really want to educate our audience and potential fans on what you can actually utilize this with. So Jono, how are you today, my brother?
Hey, what's happening, Mikey? What's cracking?
Good,
Superb,
good,
dude.
good.
Just a bit cold there.
It's a
Freaking
bit
cold this
cold.
side. Yes.
And where the
Otherwise,
people that are wondering where he is in Johannesburg, right?
yeah. So I'm yeah in the beautiful heart of Bedford, Jersey side of town. So yeah, it's looking good. Cold, nonetheless.
Awesome, awesome. So, Jono,
Mm.
as I was saying, like we're pretty much involved in this NFT space, and I wouldn't say we pioneering it, but we part of this unique generation of individuals and companies that are trying to actually stake a claim in this industry and actually extract the value that everyone in the industry truly believes is possible. So, like, what do you? How would you actually want to explain an NFT marketplace or the white label solution in which we currently offering our clients?
Well, look, if you look at the space as a whole, it's kind of manifested on this idea of trust, which is ultimately developed from the whole blockchain technology that's come to us when Bitcoin launched. So yeah, so I think that with an NFT, we're in a position where we can provide people and organizations, brands alike, the opportunity to authenticate and actually sustain longevity on the blockchain. So, for instance, an athlete um, scores an amazing goal, and a great photographer takes a dope photo, and we want to try and see how that athlete can actually benefit off that photo, not just the media, for instance, that uses that as leverage. So ultimately, we would take that photo and add it onto via a white label solution, which is perhaps let's assume the player plays for Arsenal, and Arsenal has a big fan base, and they got a website that has a lot of traffic. So ultimately, we plug
So
in there.
just
Yeah, yeah,
before
yeah.
you go on, one thing that everyone will notice is that Jono is an Arsenal fan and I'm an Manchester United fan. And growing up, we were
Oh
inherently
shit.
rivals. But in this day and age, it's incredibly embarrassing to actually mention these things. But it will come
Uh,
across in our series. Sorry to interrupt you, but I'm just setting
no,
the
no, no.
scene
That's actually brilliant, dude.
for a lot of banter that's set to come. Because I mean, today we actually
Oh
realized
shit.
we got our new manager, Eric Ten Hag. So let's see what the future holds. But I just had to throw that in there because at the moment both our teams are lackluster.
Yeah, see, well, look, let's assume the player's even bent now. And he scores this amazing goal. There's a dope photo, and we want to leverage that as an organization, and Arsenal want to leverage that. And actually, the most important is Bentner wants to leverage that. So how do we do that? Is to create an NFT. So the thing is, Arsenal's sitting there thinking, shit, how do we do? We about sport. We know how to manage a club, bring players to fruition, but we don't know how to plug into this space. And this is where a company like us, Sportsfinda, comes in and says, how do we attach that cool photo that you can put as an NFT onto the blockchain and leverage that as one, an asset, and also longevity in terms of commission every time that asset gets traded. So this is the best option, is to place it onto the blockchain. And there we go. This is us doing it as a white label solution, just tapping into the back end.
Yeah, so I think that's a great start. And what you were obviously starting on is the inherent value and the intangible value, but really is tangible if you want to look at it that way. And I think what a lot of people are trying to understand is not only the NFT, but the utility behind the NFT. But we'll get to that, John, because I want to get your opinion on the utility behind NFTs. But for
Mm,
an organization that's looking to get into the space and are dwelling on the idea of potentially creating their own NFT marketplace, because this is what we specialize in, and this is something that we are trying to enter the market in as an enterprise technology business, as opposed to individuals just creating NFTs, because that market is there. There's amazing people doing that, and we've worked with some really, really great artists, and it's something that I'm passionate about myself. But in the NFT market space and the white label space, tell me like a bit about like why an organization would want to do that. In your opinion, like what is the relevance to them?
Well, look, I think it can be twofold, maybe even several. One is to provide value to their people. So ultimately, I think there's a lot of discrepancy against humans of this day and age, just purely because of the whole notion of attaining funding in this day and age and inflation and all that stuff. So to provide value to the individual is utmost important if you look at it from a virtuous point of view. From a monetary point of view, we can look at it as this organization can perhaps find an agreement with the athlete where they can benefit in the long run as well. You know, for instance, that athlete could move on to another club, for instance, but that organization that it initially took that NFT, or was, should I say, placed onto their marketplace, will forever develop a commission for that, um, perhaps that club or company, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, it comes down to the agreement ultimately. Is the athlete willing to sacrifice 2% of its commission, you know, for the trade longevity of that asset? And this is perhaps a very paramount reason why an organization would want to jump into this, purely because they can hold on to long-term growth.
Yeah, and I think I would love to talk on that particular topic. Actually, is that I think, and a lot of organizations would agree, as well as a lot of the athletes would potentially agree, is that athletes are just very difficult to work with, and it's for various reasons, and it's typically around not only the monetary value that their brand typically would bring an organization, but also it's the day and age in which we live in. We are moving into Web 3.0, and I remember a few years ago just talking about the fourth industrial revolution. It simply feels like we've already passed that now. I think the exponential rate of progress in technology is far superseding what people could have actually had imagined. And the reason why I bring that up is because why I see an organization potentially looking at an NFT marketplace that is branded as their own. So you referred to Arsenal. I mean, let's use that, take that forward. So I think Arsenal, if they were to create their own branded NFT marketplace in which they could leverage in parallel to their website, driving their existing fan base and their audience to this NFT marketplace in which they own. So this is one of the main things in which we can provide them is the exclusivity and the ability to have the functionality to actually look deeper into the transaction, see who's buying the NFTs from them, which fan base, which demographic, and what we allow them to do is essentially create value for the fans beyond the NFT itself. And what I found super fascinating is in our conversations with individuals in these sports organizations around the world, actually, and in various sports disciplines, even from rock climbing to mountain cycling to football to American football to basketball and so on, is that a lot of these major organizations are looking for ways to enter the space. And what they're thinking of doing is obviously creating NFTs in the form of fan tokens or whatever that may be on top of the athletes' NFTs. I think the fan tokens will have a different use, different utility for it. But also the longevity of those should not be neglected because if you think about it, what we typically propose to clients, and this is obviously something that's always up for conversation, and there's no perfect way, but this is based on the experience in which we've gained in our time of operating in this industry, is that organizations are looking to actually potentially sell a ticket to a game and allow the individual to get the NFT by virtue of buying that ticket. Where in reality, it should be the other way around. You should be buying the NFT or the NFT token or the ticket to this game, where the utility behind it is not only your access to that game, but now if there's a moment in that game that stands long in the tradition of that organization or that football or that basketball team, you have a ticket to a moment in time that no one really has, and that's where the utility and the value actually is, and it will grow with time. It's like collecting sports cards. There's a moment in time in an individual's life where you have a particular game which maybe the next Maradona or the next Messi or the next Tiger Woods, whatever that may be. So my point is that organizations need to look beyond the actual NFT and look at other things in which they can create as non-fungible tokens. And a lot of organizations are utilizing the NFTs to sell tickets to concerts, and with that, so they gain access, or the fan that purchases that NFT token buys access that is far beyond the normal ticket. They may have access to an athlete, or they may have access to doing a meet and greet with a particular individual, an artist or what, a performer, whatever it may be. And the beauty of that is that these organizations that want to potentially own their own NFT marketplace can not only own the NFTs, but they can actually own the whole structure and network around that marketplace. And the biggest issue in which we believe organizations will face and are facing now is the education of the fans, the audience, and even the athletes involved, as well as the artists involved. And we're not only referring to athletes; it's people in the art scene, it's performers, it's anything really. And how do you think an NFT marketplace, is particularly a white one, in which an organization can leverage by virtue of the service we offer? How would they actually educate their audience on their marketplace itself and the NFTs in which they're selling?
Pardon, ask that question again.
So
Yeah,
my
yes.
question,
Someone
yeah.
walked through the door as you asked. Sorry.
That's fine. So say it
Hmm.
again.
Yes, please.
Yeah. So the question I was asking Jono was,
Hmm.
how does an organization that's looking to create their own NFT branded marketplace or white label marketplace, and how do they educate their audience? Because their audience are the people that are going to be buying the NFTs in which they're hosting on the NFT marketplace. Education is a really big issue at the moment, and helping people understand the true value of an NFT. Because a lot of people feel like it's a shoe in, shoe out kind of thing, and for a lot of people it will be. But we need to try and get the message across that there's a lot more value than meets the eye. How do you think an organization can do that with like a white label solution that we can potentially offer them?
Well, look, I think that will merely be a UI UX dilemma. So what I mean by that is it's ultimately merging marketing and user interface into one. So with that being said, is that how does the organization mitigate the user experience on their, for instance, website, which is inherently their marketplace? So how do they combine that interface with, for instance, marketing, which they can use as social streams, social media, digital media, whatever the case may be? Those are just about plugging into how that experience is going to be fulfilled. And
Mm.
I think that, for instance, if you were to have it on a tab on a website, and you getting 1 million people running through your website a month, there is, depending on how they've designed the website, you most probably are going to have just as much people running through that space. And for instance, if there is 20% of the people that are running through that space are investors, they're going to look at that and they're going to be quite intrigued. And the question is, that's what you want to try and solve for now. You don't want to try and convert a person that's not a retail investor into one, because then that's trying to it's capitalization, and that's not what you
Mm.
want. This is about sports. This is about fan base. This is about keeping it authentic. So how do we do that? And that's about amalgamating this technology with the nuance of culture, and putting that together and seeing where's the best fit. And I think it's going to be seamless. It's just a merely about testing it, and
It's
that's about.
interesting. It's,
I do believe it will be
well,
something that will really take adoption.
do you think that when are you referring to a particular audience, particular demographic, or society as a whole? I mean, I think it's pretty large to say that, but like, what are your thoughts around that?
Well, let's hypothetically say we take Arsenal as an example again. They have X amount of people running through their website. I think they would be quite happy if only 20% of them acted on purchasing NFTs. In this, let's for instance just say this day and age.
Especially in this market
Yeah,
right
yeah,
now.
yeah. Let's say right now in 2022, 20% of your air traffic on your website is purchasing your NFTs. I think anyone would be happy with that, because that's free money right now. And the thing is, like you mentioned about detailing that further into tickets and seasons and all that jazz. And for instance, even a forever token, you know what I mean? You can go and
Yeah,
to for any game
yeah.
forever till the day. You can even pass it on to your children. That kind of stuff is going to be very valuable. And I think for organizations to jump on that now and just to trial it is not going to be any harm. It's not going to
Mm.
cost much as well.
And like what you kind of alluding to is almost like what they have is the season ticket holders, where every year you get preference, you have the ability to purchase the season ticket before anyone else, and NFTs will become like that, and they are already like that, I believe. And I
Yes,
think
yes.
what is also important to note is going back to what we at Sportsfinda are actually doing is, and I'm sure you guys can see that we're incredibly passionate about the NFT space and more so the sport at the same time. And by merging and marrying these two industries together is something that's, I think, I've always wished and hoped for, and it seems to be have materialized, and it's super interesting. And I think one person actually asked me today in conversation, so it's definitely worth bringing up now. Is and it's quite an obvious question. Is like, what is the technology in which your platform, in which you offer your clients, is actually built on? And we built on the Ethereum blockchain, and I think a lot of people, the minute they hear Ethereum, I think a few months ago or years ago, people would have been more welcome to it because it's familiar. But now, naturally, people would associate the potentially exorbitant gas fees in which people experience when they're purchasing NFTs, as well as um, hosting NFTs on their marketplace. But now more so than ever, there's a lot of attention on Ethereum because it is one of the most powerful blockchains, and the ability to build software on that is exponentially growing. Where there's the likes of Polygon that's been built on the Ethereum blockchain, which is a layer where organizations, much like us, will be implementing this in order to reduce the gas fees experienced by users and our clients. But don't lose hope in Ethereum. There's big things coming. Today they had a massive announcement of giving away some Bitcoin to people. I mean Ethereum, not Bitcoin, and there's big things happening there. So don't lose short sight of that. And the last thing would be is the wallet in which we actually have integrated on our clients' technology, which is the MetaMask wallet. Where if you're watching this, you most likely know about MetaMask. But if you don't, we'll put a link in our description, and you're more than welcome to go have a look at it, because essentially when you do join our marketplace as Sportsfinder or our clients' marketplaces, you effectively need a MetaMask wallet amongst the other wallets that we are integrating into the software to allow you to transact and also save your NFTs in a safe place. So, having said that, we have come to the end of the first episode. I'm super excited. This is going to be one for the books in the future. I think a few years from now, we can actually look at something that we created where it was not perfect. We're learning a lot. I think each episode will get better. But before I say goodbye, John, any closing remarks or anything that you feel like you're going to bring to the podcast as we progress?
Yeah, look, I think this is a great opportunity for us to actually learn within ourselves about this industry and to allow others to learn from it too. So I think it's there's so much potential, and I'm all about change and bringing positivity. So if this is one way to do it, then why the hell not? So let's rock
Yeah,
and roll, man.
exactly. Yeah. So for
Yeah.
those of you that are watching for the first time, thank you for joining. Please hit the like and subscribe button. And yeah, this is going to be something that we're going to bring to you on a weekly basis initially, and who knows how this progresses. It will get a lot more fun. This was just the boring introductory episode in which we have to just take you through what we're all about. But our true personalities will be out in the future, that's for sure. All right, guys, take care.